Hello, I am Minecraft Phenom 08 and welcome to the 21st episode of my Rails of Industry Minecraft series. In today's episode, I am going to be expanding my power production by quite a bit by building an Extreme Reactors reactor and a couple of turbines to go along with it, so let's get started. The first thing I should note is that I have everything ready for the turbine already, or not the turbine, but the reactor itself all ready to go. I've already built a reactor earlier on in the series, and basically it's going to be a very similar structure with a few minor changes, but I already have everything for the reactor ready to go. What I need to grab is stuff for the turbines, so let's grab that. So first off, we're going to need turbine housing, and this is the base block of the turbine. For that, we need graphite and iron ingots, as well as the turbine housing core. So let's automate that real fast, and I should, if I grab a comparator, I should have everything else I need for that. So let me grab some comparators here, because I will be using a bunch of these for the turbine housing. So let's go back. Let's grab one of these so that we can actually automate the housing now. So the turbine housing is, like I said, the base block here. We're going to be using a lot of these guys, so let's grab some of that, and then we can automate some of the other stuff here. Let's automate the rotor bearing. Actually, we need to do the rotor shaft first. We will need 10 of these for each of the turbines that I will be building. The turbines are multi-block structures in which you can build them in a lot of different ways. And I have a kind of a method for how I like to build mine. But now I can build the rotor bearing here, so let's automate that. Let's see what else. So the rotor blades, let's automate that while we're here. And then let's see, can we do the controller? We should not be able to, and that is because I need to make plutonium. Plutonium is made with cyanite ingots like this. Cyanite comes from running an extreme reactor, or you can use refined uranium with sand to get cyanite. I've ran an extreme reactor for a little while on this server, so I do have plenty of cyanite, so let's grab some of that. And then I should be able to do the controller here, so let's grab that. Let's see what else. So the fluid port is another item we'll need. The fluid port gets steam into the turbine and water out of the turbine. So let's automate that as well. And then let's see here. We will need a power tap. This is how we get energy out of the turbines. And then let's see what else. Let's do some glass as well. This is just to make it look prettier. And I definitely prefer to have a decent amount of turbine glass. So let's grab that. And right now, let's throw everything into the interface terminal here so that I can actually automatically request all of this stuff that I just set the patterns for. And then let's start grabbing some of the stuff that we'll need. Like I said earlier, I am going to make a pair of the turbines. So let's grab 2 controllers. I do need 2 of the rotor bearing blocks and 2 of the power taps. There we go. Let's see here. I will need 4 of the fluid ports. On each turbine, you need an in and an out turbine fluid port, so therefore I need 4 of them total. So let's grab those. And let me think. I think that is it for the special blocks, and then I just need some of the turbine housing blocks. I'm not exactly sure how many of these I will need. I think it's something like 3 stacks per turbine usually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of guesstimate here and grab 300 of them. If I need more, I will grab more later. But for right now, that'll be a good start. And actually, let's cancel that because let's make the glass first. And I'm going to request 500 of this. And I don't have wood automated. That's kind of a crime. Oh, I know why I don't have wood automated. I could automate it with a regular pattern like this, but if I use my sawmill, I actually get a better yield. So that's usually what I do. So let's do that right now. So there's some wood that'll be crafting up, and then I should be able to make some of the glass here. I'm not really sure why the turbine glass needs wood. Oh, it's the comparators. I need sticks for the comparators. That's what it is. Okay, so let's go back and request 500 of this again. Okay, so we almost have enough wood. I'm requesting the glass first because the glass actually uses the housing to make the glass, and so since I requested some of the housing first and then requested the glass, it would use the craft for the glass would use some of the housing that I already had built, so that's not ideal. What I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to grab a stack of this wood, and actually, you know what, let's do a half stack and make it into planks real fast. And that's because I just really want to get this crafting. So let's go ahead and request 300 of this, and that should be good to go. And then there's a few more things I need to do. For each of the turbines, I'm going to be using 10 of the turbine rotor shafts. So I need 20 of these total, and this is just iron and cyanite. And then the blades, I'm going to be using 56 in each of the turbines. So that equates to 112, I believe, of these guys. So let's request that as well. And so we have a lot of stuff crafting up right now. Some of it's done. Some of it hasn't even started yet. Turbine housing. And that's just about everything I will need for the turbine itself. There's one more thing. I need a coil block. And for the coil blocks of the turbines, if you've never built them before, it's just basically a metal blocks that you use to actually make the RF or the power. And you can use lots of different blocks for this. You can use copper, you can use iron. I think you can use things like bronze, lead, gold. You might be able to use silver. You can use platinum. On the high end, you can use indium, and lutecrite is the top tier block. I am not going to make lutecrite today, but I should be able to make indium. For each of my turbines, I need 32 blocks the way I'm going to design them. So let's see if I can't request 64 blocks of indium. I do have quite a bit of indium made up. I don't have the blocks automated though, so let's do that. And indium is actually kind of easy to make at this point for me. It just takes a little bit of time. Let me find the recipe for the indium blend. It's just pulverized lead, pulverized platinum, and resonant ender buckets. The ender buckets are rather easy to make. I just take some of this, and 1 block of this equals a bucket of resonant ender if I throw this in a magma crucible and a bucket in a fluid transposer. So that's how I'm getting the buckets of ender. I'm not using ender pearls for that because I have a more efficient way to do that, or to actually get the buckets of ender. So let's throw that in there, and let's see if we can't make the actually it's not 20 or 32 I need per turbine. It's actually 24. I misquoted that earlier. So I need 48 of these blocks of indium. So let's see if we can't request that up real fast. And that will use not even half of my indium, so that's pretty nice. And that'll craft up relatively quickly. And half of them are done, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab all the stuff I've had crafted. So let's take a look at the rotor real fast. So let's grab those. And I need the housing and the glass. So if I grab the turbine housing and the glass, which is all completed by now, which is pretty awesome, we should have everything ready to go. And actually, let's grab the right stuff. One more thing I do want to grab is a wand. And I want to grab the diamond wand. So let's actually automate this because this is something I will be using quite a bit in the future. So let's grab a couple of those. Let's throw this pattern in the interface terminal here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw all of this turbine stuff into this modular storage right here, and then I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to take it over to my energy generation base, my energy generation / ore processing base, which is over here. And once I am there, I will be right back. So I've made it over to my ore processing / energy generation area, and let's take a look at where I'm going to be building this. This is the building I am going to be building this setup in, and I already have a reactor in the basement here. I never actually completed this. As you can see, there are some manual blocks in there in certain spaces, and then in other places there just aren't. Currently, this is what generates most of my power, and it does 2.7 thousand RF per tick, which is a decent amount for some people, but for me that is a pitifully low amount, so I need to do something about that. And yeah, so let's actually get building. So first off, I need to build the reactor. So let's grab all of the reactor stuff that I will need. And it should be most of this stuff right here. The ender buckets are kind of the last thing that I need to use. So let's get rid of those for right now, and let's grab some of the compact infinite water sources. The reactor that I'm going to be building does need to provide water, so that's what the water source blocks are for. So let's do a little bit of mapping here. The turbines are going to be 7 wide, I know that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so my reactor needs to start here, and it's going to be 5 wide. So let's grab a wand actually. And I have a couple of them in here. So let's get rid of another bucket for right now, and let's just carry out this turbine all the way across, or almost all the way across, to the other side there. So one more. There we go. And then the shell of the reactor for right now is only going to be 7 high. So right now it's 1 high, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so let's I just basically need to create a shell here for with the reactor casing. So the rest of it's going to be glass. I just need the kind of outside shell to be reactor casing. So let's go ahead and, oh, freeze. Let's go ahead and finish out this real fast. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just across. Almost there. There we go. So right now let's go ahead and place 2 of the coolant ports and then their water source blocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to place water source block right here and then a coolant port here. I do need to test something because I'm not sure if my crescent hammer will be able to change. Okay, so I might actually need to make an extreme wrench here, which means I'll have to go back to my main base because I don't have any wool over here. I definitely don't have lime wool over here. So I will need to be able to change some of these reactor coolant ports to outputs. So I will need that wrench at some point, but for right now let's just kind of continue with what we can do. So I need another one of these. I probably don't need this, but I've decided to go with 2 of the coolant ports on, or to feed the reactor water. Later on they'll kind of be irrelevant because as the turbine circulates and the reactor circulates, the water from the reactor becomes steam. It goes to the turbine, and the turbine makes the steam back into water again, and it's all at a 1-to-1 ratio. So at some point I won't even need external water, but it's nice to have regardless. Okay, so I have that done. Let's go ahead and do the fuel rods for right now. So I need a fuel rod in the middle, and that would be this right here. And then on either side I am going to have a space and then another fuel rod like this, and that is up to the top. And then just like before, we need to cap the top or the bottom off with a reactor control rod, which I can do like this. Next up, let's start laying some of the glass and also some of the reactor coolant ports. So let's lay down a layer of glass all the way around, and then I want to put one there as well, and that's just so my wand can work a little bit better when I get to using it. Okay, so there we go. Let's grab a wand, and it should be able to do entire layers at a time. Okay, so next I'm going to put down a coolant port here. Actually, I think I need that to be 1 lower. I do. I need the coolant port to be here, and then a coolant port to be right here, I believe. And this is going to be to feed the turbines. The turbines will be built directly up against the reactor that I'm building right now, and so it's easier than using fluid ducts or some other form of liquid transportation to get the fluids into or from the reactor to the turbine, and then from the turbine back to the reactor. It's a lot easier if you build them side by side, so you don't need any conduit of any sort. It does look like I am going to need some of those extreme wrenches, or an extreme wrench. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish out the shell here, and I should be able to finish out that. Okay, so oh crud, I forgot about this. Might be easiest if I just do this. Yep. Okay, so let's finish the side out there. And the next thing I need to do is I need to start laying my ender down. So what I'm going to be doing is, in each cardinal direction from each reactor fuel rod, from the top of the fuel rod, I'm going to put some resonant ender. So actually, this will be easier if I dedicate a little more inventory space to the ender buckets. Okay, so what I need to do is I need an ender bucket here, I need an ender bucket here, and one here as well. And like I said, all cardinal directions from each control or fuel rod rather. So let's grab more ender buckets. There, and there. And then I need just a few more, I think. Okay, so where is... Here it is. And I think that's all of the buckets that I have. So there. Okay, so I should have 4 left, and it looks like I do, so that's fantastic. And just so I can lay the ender blocks here kind of out in the middle of nowhere, I'm putting down cobblestone for that. So there we go. Should have all the ender buckets down. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and top this reactor, and it should form up and become a multi-block structure. So let's do that real fast. One thing I should do is I should change the mode of this so that I don't accidentally place a bunch of glass blocks where I don't need them. And I should have done that a while ago, but it's okay. I didn't make a mistake, so we're good. Okay, so this should be the last block. There we go. So I have this reactor ready to go. What I need to do right now is I need to go back to my main base so that I can grab an extreme wrench, and then I need to come back. So I'm going to do that real fast, and once I'm back with the extreme wrench, I will be right back. So finally I am back, and I have an extreme wrench with me. What I need to do is on each side I need to change one of these coolant ports to be an outlet from the reactor, and so I'm going to do that on the top. One more thing I did not do with the reactor earlier is I did not install the excess hatches, and I actually only need 2 of these. I don't know why I brought 4 of them along, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to install them underneath. So let's go down here, and what I'm going to do real fast is I'm going to make a little pedestal, and actually I probably should not have put it here, and that's because we're going to have some ender coming down, but let's build it right here. And if I dig up here and here, this is where I want my access hatches, and right there. And I don't want to touch this resonant ender because it will teleport me, so that's kind of why I built my platform away. Okay, there we go. And as you can hear, it's teleporting things around. One of these needs to be an inlet and one needs to be an outlet. Let's go ahead and have this one be the inlet and this one be the outlet. Over here I do have my stockpile of refined uranium, and then this is for waste up there. So I actually do have some item duct with me, so let's grab that so that I can actually hook that stuff up to my items. And I have servos with me. I have the item duct right there, so let's also grab some covers to make this look nice and tidy. And let's go back down here and let's hook this up. So the inlet is right here, and this should be fairly easy. I should just... Actually, I need the inlet to be the bottom, so Can I use this? Nope, I cannot use that there. I do need the crescent hammer for that. Let's go ahead and install the outlet real fast, and let's grab a servo for that. And unfortunately, I'm about to take some fall damage, but that's okay. No, that's the wrong thing. Oh, well, that's not even gonna work. So let's try this. So I do need to turn this on all the time so that it's always pulling items out, or the spent fuel out. I do need to hook that up to the top black hole unit over here. So let's run this over and then run it over and then run it over this way, and then connect it up like that. Over here, I need to get items out of here, so let's hook up an item duct. Let's do a servo on this, on all the time, and then we can just run this over. And I don't want to do that, actually. I want to just drop that down and drop that over like that, and that should be connected up. So basically, this should be getting fuel, and it is. It is full of fuel now. It's also full of water, which is good to see. That means the water inputs are working, as we can see right there. So the next phase of this build is to build the turbines. So let's get started with that. I do need to keep this with me. I don't need these buckets. I was going to use the covers, but you know what? Let's just go ahead and do that real fast. This will take like a few seconds. Maybe it'll take more than a few seconds. It'll take like 10. So one cover here and one cover here. Okay, so it probably took like 15. But that's okay. Okay, so that's all good. Let's get rid of most of the stuff that I don't need, and let's look at the turbine stuff. So first off, I'm going to actually ignore the glass because that's going to be what I grab last. And you know what? Did I put the Endurium in here? I did. For a second there, I thought maybe I did not. That would have been bad. Okay, so I was able to grab all the turbine stuff. I'm not sure if I have enough of all of the blocks to actually make everything. Okay, so one turbine's going to be over there, one turbine's going to be over here, and let's grab this right here, and I need to extend this out to make the turbine's external dimension 7 by 12 by 7. And like I said, I might actually run out of turbine housing blocks. It's going to be close. So each one of these turbines, I need to make a frame just like I did for the reactor. So let's go ahead and do that real fast. And I like to build these in pairs along with reactors, just because I feel like it's pretty easy to do. And because of how I make my buildings, they fit in the buildings really well. So it kind of does look like I'm going to run a little bit short on turbine housing blocks, which is not ideal. Actually, let's turn this to single block mode so I can use it. And I knew I would do that. Actually, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this turbine on camera, and then I will finish this other turbine off camera because they're going to be identical. So there's no real reason for me to need to build them both right now. I can just build the second one later if that is all right with you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's put the redstone flux power taps right here so that I only need one flux duct to actually tap into both of them. Let's go ahead and put all the fluid ports in, and the fluid ports go right up against the coolant ports in the reactor, and they do need to be the same colors. So the tops are the reds and the bottoms are the blues. So that is fantastic. Next off, I need to do the rotor housings. And so that's that. And then next I need to do the rotor shafts. And there is 10 rotor shafts, or there are 10 rotor shafts for each of the turbines. So let's lay those out. And there we go. And next I want to do the rotor blades. And the rotor blades, in this configuration are going to be like that, and I misplaced 2 of them. And just to make things simpler, I am going to go ahead and do this one as well, because when I whip out my wand, it's really quick to do this. So I need to change the mode on the wand here by hitting the M key. So I need 56 in each reactor, so I need 7 sets of 8. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the rest of them should go over here. Fantastic. And then lastly, or last for the interior, I guess, is the enderium, and it just goes around the rotor shaft like so. You can have partial rings, and that is perfectly acceptable. So like if I just left this like so and I completed the external part of the reactor, it would form up and it would be fine. But I do want to have 24 of the blocks in here, so I'm going to extend that like that. And you know, I might as well do this one as well. Oh shoot. And let's go ahead and change the mode to make this a little bit quicker. And there we go, there's the coils for each one of these. And then the last step here is, or not the last step actually, I need to have the controllers. I'm going to put them right here and right here so that they're really close to each other. And then the last step is to do the glass. And this end is the trickiest one to do for the glass, just because we have these the rotor bearing and the rotor or the turbine coolant ports right there. But it's still not that difficult to do. We just have to do a little running around. And then because I have a wand, this next part will be pretty easy. I can just do a huge chunk of this all at once with my wand. If I just lay down the first layer here, grab my wand, I need to make sure it's in the right mode. There we go. And so this will build the glass all the way around. So now I just need to do the end here. And one thing I should mention is on the end of the turbine rotor shaft, on one end you have to have the rotor bearing port, on the other you actually have to have plain Jane housing. So let's go ahead and slap that down, and now I can finish out my glass here. So that is not bad at all. Hopefully this thing will form up when I place this last block of glass. So that is fantastic. What I need to do now is let's turn the reactor on and turn the turbine on as well to make sure they're going to interact like they should. First off, actually I need to set these to not be 100% because that's crazy. I'm using control to change all of the rods. Let's try 80% for right now, because I will only have this one turbine connected up for right now. I do have steam in here, so let's turn this guy on. And this guy is already producing a little bit of power. For right now, or for this episode, I'm not actually going to hook up these turbines to my power grid, because I actually need to make better flux ducts to take full advantage of them. But in the next episode, I will do that, and I will probably take advantage of some of this newfound power that I'm going to have. So the next thing I need to do is I actually need to tune these turbines. If you've ever played with Extreme Reactors before, the turbines that is, there are some rules to the turbines that can help you maximize production here. And part of them are right here. Rotors perform best at 900 or 1800 RPM. There's actually other prime zones, which would be 2700 RPM, 3600 RPM. It says here at the bottom, speeds over 200 or 2000 RPM or overspeed and may cause a turbine to fail catastrophically. I don't know that they've implemented that, but then again, I've never really played with a whole lot of turbines that I've had kept overspeed for a long period of time. So maybe they have implemented that and I just don't know. But that is something to keep in mind. I like my turbines to be as close to 1800 as I can get them, and because of the setup I'm using, I will be able to get them to be rather close to 1800 RPMs. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to disengage the coils so that I can actually spin up the turbine a little bit faster. What that does is it will drop the energy generation to 0, but like I said, the rotor will spin up a little bit faster. And how I'm going to moderate the speed is I can change the amount of flow for steam into the turbine. And I know I won't need 2,000 millibuckets per tick, but actually I'm probably not even getting 2,000 millibuckets per tick right now. Actually, if I run over to my reactor rather, I can see exactly how much I'm making. It's 895, so I'm actually going to need more than that. Let's turn this up. 50%, that should give me, yes, 2,000, so that's actually a little more than I need. So let's turn this down just a little bit. Let's do Control Shift Alt. Let's do 55. I feel like that's going to be really close to 2,000, which means I will be able to push my turbine to speed up a little bit quicker than it was before. So let's see here. Yes, it's already almost to 1,000. This number is going up like crazy. One thing I didn't mention earlier is that rotor blades can only fully capture 25 millibuckets of steam per blade. I have 56 in each one of these turbines, so I don't know what that adds out to be, but it is certainly less than the 2,000 that I'm feeding it right now. But once I actually tune it down to where I'm going to keep it, I'm not sure if I will be at 100% efficiency or a little bit lower. This still isn't bad efficiency. I prefer to actually build the turbines a little bit smaller and to maybe not get 100% efficiency just to save a little bit of space. In the past, I did build turbines that were fully efficient, but they take up a lot more space and they're just harder to build, I guess. So I prefer them in the 7x7x12 package, in which I built this turbine right here. So this thing's getting pretty close. Let's turn on the coil. As we turn on the coil, it is still going up in speed, so that's good to see. That means that the 2,000 millibuckets are they're more than enough, so that's good. So we're almost to that 1,800. Let's turn this on again. We're still going up quite rapidly, so let's get this up to 1,800. I can actually run this a little over 1,800 RPMs and still get pretty good efficiency. My efficiency does drop after 1,800. Okay, so we're over 1,800. Let's tune this a little bit. We're still going up at 1,400. Okay, so 1,300 is coming down a little bit. Let's get that number to start picking up just a little bit. Okay, so 1320 seems to be a pretty good location. Let's see if this goes down. Okay, so that's still going up. Let's keep it at 1310 for right now. So let's call that good. So what I want to do is I actually want to turn this thing to make a little bit more steam than this. I need to do, 2620, because I'm going to have two of these turbines set up to be identical. So, yeah, and I didn't even look at the power generation. It's 15,600 RF per tick. That's a monstrous amount of power, and that is nice to see because I will be taking advantage of that pretty soon. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to shut these guys down because I don't need them to be running right now. They're not hooked up to anything, so why have them run when they're not providing power for anything? It's just kind of wasteful. So I think that's going to be it for today. So in today's episode, I built this reactor right here and this turbine right here. Between episodes, I will finish out this other turbine. I just don't have the resources with me right now, so I'm not going to worry about doing it right now. It's going to be a pretty simple process. It'll take just a few minutes. But this setup will provide me with about 30,000 RF per tick, in which I will probably be taking advantage of next episode. So anyways, if you enjoyed today's episode, definitely give it a like. If you enjoy watching automation type stuff in modern Minecraft, definitely consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Anyways, signing off, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and I will see you next time.